Correct and reveal video for the crocodile man here.
As I live, all will die.
Level up the Ascended. So at the start of the game, draw me if all of your cards are Shurima. Countdown 25, restore the Sun Disc. When an Ascended ally levels up, advance me 10 rounds. So Shurima is the new region in Runeterra, so they're adding a 9th region or color to the game with this expansion. Countdown means it countdowns 1 each turn, and this one gets 10 extra when you level up an Ascended ally. So I assume the Lizard Man's an Ascended ally. So base Ascended champion here, 4/4 for 4 with Overwhelm. When I challenge an enemy, give me +2/+1 this round. So I imagine Shurima as a region is going to have ways to give things Challenger, or you'll want to pair this with things that have Challenger. Although I imagine it with this first landmark, if you want all of your cards to be this region, that you'll have things in that region to give Challenger.
I'll rend a bloody path through Shurima.
One thing to note on this card, by the way, here too, that's important, is I've dealt 12 damage. Does anybody know I've dealt, does that refer to the champion in general or this specific instance of the champion? Is that 12 gonna carry over if this one dies and the next one happens? I think it means it's this specific instance. That's very, if it's this specific instance, that seems very difficult to level offhand.
Glorious battle. Where I go, carnage follows.
Yeah, 2 challenge attacks is a lot, though. It has to survive those challenge attacks, too, so you need, like, some kind of healing or something.
Soft, weak coward.
Quicksand Burst, give an enemy -4/-0 and disable its combat keywords this round. Combat keywords is new jargon, right? So what's I guess it's probably easy to list. What's a non-combat keyword? Like a tune? But this gets rid of, like, quick attack, elusive, spells. Well, spell shield would prevent this from happening, right? But this would get rid of barrier, is nice. Yeah, this is good against Lee Sin. It's a burst spell.
Face your end.
It does get rid of elusive, so you can block there. Yep. That level up animation is great. Okay, and here's the new thing they're doing in this expansion. So all previous champions have only leveled up once. Apparently these Ascended champions are leveling up a second time through. This, and even this just like level 2 mode here is like pretty good, right? Like 5/5 for 4 attacks as an 8/8 is like pretty strong. And notably, this level up mode only happens when you've restored the Sun Disc. So it feels like getting to level 3 with this is only going to be in a very specific kind of deck, right? It's going to be like a mono Shurima deck.
Enemy cannot be contained. Nothing will stop me.
The Sun Discs.
When I'm summoned, advance your buried Sun Disc 2 rounds. Sure, I wonder what happens with the disc when it gets there. I assume we're going to see that. So, like, this is like a fine stat line, though, right? So, like, if I assume the Sun Disc is a good payoff, and if it is, advancing it on a stat line like this seems reasonable.
Light leads us into the future.
The Butcher of the Sands will reign supreme.
When I block or attack, deal 2 damage to enemies in the enemy nexus, and he's a 10/10 with overall. Yeah, that animation was fantastic. Hey, what does the Sun Disc do now?
I bring ruin. All of Shurima will worship me.
So is that all that does then? Restore the sun disk? So the sun disk is just leveling them to 3. Okay, yeah, but it didn't tell us, like, I thought restoring the sun disk was going to accomplish something, right? Sun disk levels your ascendant champ. Yeah, I showed this yesterday, but I assumed that it was doing something else other than it draws it. Well, we just saw it happen, right? So like what happened here?
As will reign supreme.
Yeah, I mean, it just happened there and nothing happened. Yeah, it just went away in this video. Chat, everybody keeps telling me it was in yesterday's video. Yesterday's video didn't tell you anything about what doing that means. I understand that they spoiled that yesterday. I looked at these yesterday, and again, like, from a Restoration of the Sun Disk, immediately draw 1 of all of your Ascendants. For the rest of the game, your level 2 Ascendants are level 3. So what is an Ascendant? Immediately draw 1 of all your Ascendants. So does that mean when it levels, you guaranteed draw your champions? So like if you have 2 Ascendant champions in your deck, you draw them? That's what that means? It's a unit type like elite. Okay, so it's hard to immediately draw 1 of all your, and it's included on champions. There might be non-champion ascendants too. Okay, so it's gonna draw you a bunch of cards. So in this previous video that we saw here, where it didn't draw anything, like nothing got drawn here. That just means there weren't any in their deck? Okay, so okay. I was expecting to see something like that there. Okay, we saw a couple other spells here too. Grant an ally 2 attack and an enemy vulnerable this round. Create a Reckon. Oh, this is his champion spell. Got it. Okay. Ooh, and this is burst. Okay. Burst speed on this is pretty good. And we saw this play out exactly this way in the video. But talking about being difficult to level this spell helps level Renekton actually really cleanly, right? Because this gives him 2 attack. And then his When I Challenge gives him 2 attack, which puts him to 8. And then he can block when they attack the following turn and level up then. So in conjunction with this card, that's super reasonable, right? So like, looks difficult to level up, but works out pretty well, especially paired with this card. And this is his champion spell, so like you'll be pretty likely to have this. Rite of Dominance. Kill an ally or destroy a mana gem to give all enemies -2 attack this round. That's interesting. I wonder if you choose which of these 2 you're doing when you put it on the stack. Chris Creeves, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. It's worth noting that this card gets better in the late game too, right? Because this card, when you have 10 mana gems, you can just sacrifice a gem knowing you're going to get it back the next turn, right? That's neat. Then we had the Mobilytic spoilers from yesterday. Okay, so this advances your Sun Disc to, yeah, that all seems pretty reasonable. If you've leveled a champion, heal your Nexus 2. New full spoiler here. I think there's slightly more cards than just those. Oh, we've got some others here too. Okay, so we've got a 3-1 for 1 with no downside. 5-3 for 4. Play, grant an enemy -1 attack and vulnerable. This is a very good stat line. And the fact that this is grant means you're permanently shrinking it, permanently granting it vulnerable seems very reasonable. 6-6 for 7 fearsome. Attack gives enemies -2 attack this round. I could go either way on that. Exhaust seems very good. Focus. Someone else mentioned this earlier. I believe focus is gem speed for spells, which means you can't respond to it. It doesn't use the stack, but you can't play it inside of combat. Which I'm really, really glad that they're keywording this. Focus is good. That's a good clarity thing. It'll clean up the wordiness on a lot of cards. From a game mechanics perspective, I like that speed a lot. Grant enemy -4 and disable its keywords this round. We saw that. Quicksand seems super playable. I expect this to be a staple. Similar to Hush, I expect there to be a lot of complaining about this card in the community, but it looks like a good design. It's very reasonable. Give an enemy follower 4 attack this round if you have fewer mana gems than your. Ooh. Okay, this is a neat design. So this, in conjunction with things like Rite of Dominance, this tells me that we're probably gonna see some other, you can sacrifice mana gems. Like Rite of Dominance lets you sacrifice a mana gem, right? So like being able to sacrifice a gem and then get a payoff from something like this is really neat. Yeah, and it's just like a built-in anti-ramp card. Dominion's Destruction, deal 2 damage to enemies and the enemy. Oh, this is his triggered ability on. This is his skill. This isn't actually, you can't actually play a 0 mana card that does 2 to everything. This is a really neat design here too. Ascendance Rise, level up all level 1 Ascended allies, and Buried Sun Disc says when an Ascended ally levels up, advance me 10. So like, and this is a spell, so you could theoretically play the disc on 1, and you could play this on 4, and assuming you have 2 Ascended allies, it would immediately hit the Sun Disc, right? Like you could do this, and then by turn, it's almost right by turn 4, this would have ticked down 3 times, and then this would advance it 20, right? So that's neat, yeah. It's really good designs in here. Excited to see what the rest of this. Yeah, it'd be 2 more turns. So that means if you do this on 1 and you do this on 4, you would acquire your Sun Disc on 6. Is what it would happen. Okay. Yeah, that seems super reasonable. I also like thinking through those permutations. The fact that this would hit on 6 means it's an advantage for when you're attacking on evens as well. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Like the Sun Disc says you draw 1 of each of your Ascendants too. So if there's 3 Ascendant champions, you might be inclined to play a 3-2-1 split or a 2-2-2 split on your champions, and then Ascendant's Rise was leveling 3 things would trigger the Buried Sun Disc on 4. Yeah, that seems great. Excited to see what the rest of the champions look like. We should get is it five champions from this region in this first card drop? Does anybody know, is it 4 or is it 5 that we'll get to start? We'll get 5. Okay, sweet. So hopefully we'll have at least 4 Ascended Champions to pick between for deck building.